Hi everyone, it's Terryl. I am coming to you about my 50 random facts about me. This is a tag. So, if you're interested, keep watching. I'm just saying. Number 1, my name is Terryl. It rhymes with Carol, but it's Terryl. He is in terrific, Terryl. And my grandmother said that she made up my name. My dad's name is Terrence, but they call him Terry. She said she added an L onto my name and got Terryl. I believe her, she's my heart. But why is there a football player with my name? Number 2, I'm not short, but I'm not tall. I'm 5'7", so, yeah, that's my height. Number 3. So I'm the middle child. I have an older brother and a younger sister. They're both married with children, and I'm single with no children. Take me as I am. Number 4, I am a born-again Christian, and I love God. I am very active in my church, in my community, and I'm loving it. Number 5, I had a funeral for my dog. His name was Aiden. He passed away when he was 5 months old. He died of parvo, which is a highly contagious virus in puppies. So hurt because he was like a son to me. And I used to say, I don't see how people can be, you know, a certain kind of way with their pets, but he was the best. He was a silly dog. He was 100% Shih Tzu, and he truly made me study that breed. First of all, my parents tricked me. They were like, yeah, someone is blessing us with a dog and we need you to go and pick him up for us because they live by you. I'm like, all right, cool. I go, I get the puppy, right? Come back to my place. I call my parents like, hey, when do you guys want me to bring y'all puppy? They're like, oh, here's the deal. We can't have pets where we are right now, so we need you to keep him. I'm like, what? Then they're like, well, we need you to keep him until we move. And I was like, whew, I didn't know you guys were moving. They're like, we're not. But when we move, we'll get him. And I'm like, these jokers right here. So I took him the next day, got his shots. I fell in love with him that same day I got him in. He was like my child to the funeral. So he died of parvo. He was sick. We were in and out of the hospital, the vet. And they didn't think it was parvo, so they didn't test him for it. So anyway, I'm just saying, like, if your pet is sick and they say it's not something to test for, because he didn't start showing the signs until it was like the last stages. At that point, there was nothing that they can do. But I had a funeral for him. Aiden was very funny. I potty trained him. I must have been hard on him because reading on the breed, because of how he would act, I'm like, oh, I need information. And it typically takes, I read that it takes 8 to 9 months to potty train those puppies. Yeah, I had him potty trained in like 2 weeks. I don't know if I was that hard on him, but I was on it. Like every 15, I was on it. When I tell you I was on it, putting him on the pad, having him smell it, yeah, I was about it. So, Aiden, in that breed, I would wonder, like, why is this guy peeing on the floor and he's potty trained now? And so I began to read about the breed and how they love to go on cushion things like your carpets, or I had to pull up my area rug. And this is no joke. Like one day I went to the restroom and I left the door open so I could see him. He comes off his bed, literally looks both ways and begins to pee on my area rug. I'm like, Aiden! He looks around because he couldn't see me and runs back to his bed, right? So I know that he knew he was doing wrong. And so I'm like, okay, he's gonna go in time out whenever he pees on the floor for no apparent reason. And so he would use the bathroom on the floor, number 1. And he always did number 1, never would do number 2 on the floor, always on his pad. But he would do number 1 on the floor and like straight look at me like, what? And I'm like, okay, buddy, you're going in timeout. So I would put him in timeout for like 5 minutes, right? Or like sometimes 10 minutes, depending on how bad he was. I would make him send a timeout and he would like talk back and stuff. He would be like, I'm like, I don't care what you saying, you go stand there, okay? Because we don't pee on mommy's hardwood floors. We don't do that around here. This joker got tired of me putting him in timeout, right? So every now and then he would just, you know, use the bathroom on the floor every now and again. So this joker would potty on my floor and go put himself in timeout. And so the first time he did it, it threw me for a loop because I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, like my kitchen is behind me, so I can see out here in the living room. So he's standing on his pad in timeout, and I'm like, what did this joker do? So I couldn't find where he went to the bathroom, so I just let him stand there for like 5 minutes, and he pretty much knows that his time is up, so he come prancing off or whatever. And so the next day I did find a dry spot underneath my coffee table. I remember so much about him. Like, he was the best dog ever. I had a procession for him and also a funeral, and my pastor did speak at his funeral. He was a family member to me. I loved him. I hearted him. It was just, you know, close friends and family there. We all were just decked out in our hats and everything. And anyway, so my pastor began to say, you know, people said some things about Aiden that they remembered, and my pastor, you know, was closing it out with I don't know if you would call it a eulogy for animals, but I'm just saying. My pastor was closing it out, and he said that I'm like laughing, crying the whole time, and because I'm just a mess. And so my pastor says that I begin to talk to Brother Aiden and ask him, why must you trouble your mother all the time? And he said, Brother Aiden began to look at me, and he said, Pastor, I guess it's just a dog in me. It's just the dog in me that caused me to do the things that I did. So I'm in the funeral, like, just cracking up. Then it was just too much, so I couldn't have dinner and people over. I just didn't feel like being bothered. Yeah, my eyes were big, swollen for days. He died on March 20th of 2012. And my birthday is March 28th, and my parents were just going to give them to me as a gift. Number 6. I was in a bad car accident when I was 21. Actually, when I turned 21, I broke my toe, the toe next to the pinky toe. I stumped it on the bed. You know how you stump your toe on the bed and like it never breaks? Yeah, mine straight broke and went like one of these ways. Went to the doctor, and he didn't numb me or anything. He just popped it back in place, and I'm like, oh! In the place, right? A few days after that, I got into a really bad car accident. Never broke a bone before in my life, and never been in a bad car accident. So this happened to me all when I turned 21. I was in the bad car accident, lost 2 teeth. These 2 teeth right here, I think they're 7 and 8 or 9 and 10. I can't remember their number. I used to know the numbers. I had like 9 surgeries. These are implants, actually. I lost all my gum up here. You see it? I broke my bone, and so they had to go in and take out all the shattered bone, and we had to rebuild fake bone. So I had over 9 surgeries and 2 implants. Set me back some change, like over $10,000. Would set my parents back. I split my lip actually in half, and I bust my head open right here. I was actually, and you can see it if you look now, you see that mark. I was actually sewn up by a plastic surgeon, and you can see my lip right here. I've been wearing a lot of fingernail polish lately because I've been making jewelry like crazy. And when you make jewelry, your fingernail polish get messed up, and I don't like when it chips and, you know, it's just a hot heathen mess. Like, I don't like stuff like that. I'm just saying. So you can see it. And it was split in half. So people say they never noticed this about me until I actually point it out. But it's like I have a bubble lip. When you look at it, you see how big this part is? Or when I smile, see the bubble? And it's so weird because some people ask me, like, have you been eating fish? And I'm like, yeah, but you know, not like today. Some people say that if you're allergic to fish, it does the same thing. But no, this is from my lip being split in half. And I got some damage on my upper lip. Moving on. 7. I used to model full time. Number 8. Boom, 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 boom. I know a lot of useless information. Have you ever met someone that just know useless information that you cannot do anything with? That would be me. Like, did you know that over 1,000 left-handed people die a year from using right-handed people's machines? Did you know that left-handed people have scholarships available to them because they were considered to be abnormal? Did you know that back in the day that if you were left-handed, they used to break your hand so you can write with your right hand? I'm on this left-hand kick right now because my sister and my dad are both left-handed. Did you know that almost every president of the United States we had all are left-handed? Pretty much all of them were left-handed. I think we had a few right-handed people. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying stuff like that, and I can go on for days. Like, just really, for real. Really, Terryl? Number 9. I love Tim Hortons. Tim is the only man that tends to get me addicted to him every day. Like, I gotta have Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons, funny story. Okay, so I live downtown Detroit, and Canada is right there. So I live downtown Detroit, Canada's right there, and I'm always beefed out with the Tim Hortons on this main road that I live on. Because, seriously, yeah, they run out of stuff, and I'm not used to that. I'm just saying, especially not a chain place, restaurant, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I would go there. I love the French vanilla cappuccinos. I get a coffee, a double-double, medium double-double. That's 2 creams, 2 sugars. I would get, an iced cappuccino. I'm not the one that love cold coffee, but I'm telling you, it is the bomb.com. I can't even like go on about it. They're Asiago bagels. They're, oh my gosh, they have a barbecue wrap and a chicken ranch wrap. And oh my gosh, they have this one, the chocolate dip donut. You can get glaze or cake. I mean, they just got a lot going on. So I'm always beefed out with this Tim Hortons by me, right? Because they always run out of stuff. So I go down there, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, let me go get a French vanilla cappuccino. Yeah, I get down there and these jokers are like, we don't have, we're all out of cappuccino. And that's like a #1 stunner at Tim Hortons. Who runs out of that? Who does that? And so one time I went, me and my niece, and I wanted to get her a hot chocolate, right? So I asked for a cappuccino. We're all out of cappuccinos. Okay, well, can I get a hot chocolate? We're all out of hot chocolates. I'm like, am I being punked right now? Like, is this a joke? Like, I don't get it. So I got so mad, right? I'm always clapping, punching. I got so mad, I went down to Canada to get it. I went to go through the tunnel to go to Canada. As soon as you cross the border, this is Tim Hortons right there, right? So I'm like, well, let me go to Canada and get Tim Hortons. So I go, then I didn't realize, because back in the day, I thought it was like 50 cents, $1 to cross over. Yo, it was $4.50, right? So that's one bill right there. So I go, you know, to Canada. I'm going through the tunnel, pull up through customs, the Canadian part, and they're like, so what brings you to Canada? And they asked me, what brings you to Canada? And I said I wanted to just come to Tim Hortons, get a medium French vanilla cappuccino and some Timbits. They were like, he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, why do you have an enhanced driver's license? I was like, because I live downtown Detroit and maybe I want to travel around. And then he was like, are you carrying any products with you? Or where do you work? And I told him what I do. He was like, do you have any material with you in the car? No. Are you meeting someone? No. Well, it's not like you did anything wrong, but we need you to pull over to the side. And I just want to let you know that if you try to run, the police cars are already in position and you will be stopped. And I'm like, what? Like, all right. So I pull over, right? Everyone, you know how they try to hide. Like, they were just so dry to me and rude to me and mean to me. And they searched my truck inside out. Like, they searched my truck inside out. Had me unlock my iPhone straight up. Had me unlock my iPhone. The lady had to spend, I'm not exaggerating, like 20 minutes looking through my phone. And so finally she's done. They look through my truck. They do everything. They're talking amongst each other. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go to jail in another country and nobody knows that I'm here. And so she gets through my phone and then she looks up at me and she gives me this smile and she said, you really came over here for Tim Hortons? And I was like, yes. And she was like, okay, well, you know, it's across the way. And I said, yeah. So 20 minutes, held up, posted, they going through my stuff, and I'm standing right there. So I wanted to go and pull cash out because I knew I had to come back, and I only had $5 in cash on me. So I'm like, let me go pull money out. I'll get that, and then I'll go to Tim Hortons. You know, unbeknownst to me, it is another country. Hello is something that you really don't think about because I live right across the way. Like, I can see Canada right now. I'm just saying. And so they're like, so I go, and none of their ATM machines, nothing will take my money. They don't have a Chase Bank. They don't have a Bank of America. This is Canada. So nothing is working right. So at this point, I assume that my card is not going to work at Tim Hortons. At this point, I'm livid. Now, when I went over there, it was light outside. Now at this point, it's dark. I'm nervous. I'm like, all right, let me just head back and go back to the D. Go back to the USA, for crying out loud. I get to the US. These jokers right here, so I didn't have any money to get back. So at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, I'm in sales. I can do this. I'm like, let me go and talk to the guy who's in Canada, who's gonna let me back through, right? Let him know, like, listen, my money funny, because it don't work here, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, and I had my debit card in my hand, so he was just reaching for my debit card. And I'm like, oh, you can't take it? So he ends up taking it and charging to come back. To get there, I think it's $4.75. To come back is like $4.50. Yeah. And they want to search me. So anyway, I'm like, what? You could take my card. So at this point, I'm livid, right? Because remember, I didn't try Tim Hortons because I figured they wouldn't take my cash. My debit card. So I'm just like, this is some freaking boo-ha. All right? So I come back, right? The US. I come back. The US, they're like, okay, so what took you over to Canada? So I'm like, I went to Canada to get a medium French vanilla cappuccino and some Timbits. He's like, all right, ma'am, I need you to pull over to the side. Nothing else, no lie. Didn't ask me anything else. All right, ma'am, I need you to pull over to the side. Follow this gentleman right here. I'm like, here we go. These jokers at this point made me get out of the car, like, you know, the Canadians did, but I had to go into some building. They brought out the dogs to go in my truck because I'm on this nonsense kick talking about I wanted to go to Tim Hortons for a medium French vanilla cappuccino and some Timbits. So I'm in here, right? I'm nervous because remember, I don't have any Tim Hortons, so I look like I'm lying, right? Story of my life. So I look like I'm lying. So I go into the spot, and I go into the building, and the guy has my ID. He's asking me questions. He's like, you know, it's like 3 Tim Hortons, like where you live. I was like, I do know, but 2 of them are closed, and 1 didn't have what I was looking for. And so I'm talking, and he could tell I'm irritated, but I'm trying to be cool because I'm in a different country, and it's not the same. No, it's not the same. So I'm trying to be cool at the same time. So he's like, well, did you at least get your Tim Hortons? And I'm like, no, I didn't because I didn't think my card would work. I'm surprised that I even got back over here. So he's like, all right, well, just have a seat and we'll call you up. So about 10, 15 minutes, they realized, obviously, this chick is on some nonsense, and she straight up just came to our country or went to Canada to get a medium French vanilla cappuccino and some Timbits. Yes, I did. And so at this point, I'm just like livid. So remember, I spent $4.75 to get over there, $4.50 to get back. Now, and I was held up both times. And as each person left out, it was a guy who stood there and he was like 2 out or 1 out or whatever. Whenever someone went out the door, they didn't hear him say it. So I'm trying not to be in this like negative state because I'm heated at this point. As dark as I am, I think I was pretty much red. So I'm like, this is some boo-ha. Remember, I'm fiending now for my cappuccino, and I just wanted to have a good time and relax. It was a long day. And so I looked at the guy who would say 1 out, 2 out whenever someone left. I was like, are you gonna say 1 out when I leave? And he was like, yes, ma'am. He was so cute. I couldn't even be mad at him. And so he did. So when they found out that I am completely innocent at this point, everybody was my friend, which I get it. Okay, yeah, I could try to, you know, I could have been anybody who could have set something off. I don't know. So they found out that I went over there literally for Tim Hortons and some Timbits, and they all had mercy on me and was laughing like this story is probably gonna go down in history. And so as I was getting ready to leave out, the guy who I asked, are you gonna say one out when I leave? He did. He said one out when I was walking away, just to be friends with me and to be friendly. It was such a great gesture because I was in such a blah kind of mood. It was really nice. They were good to me after that. So I come back to the US, right? And it's no Tim Hortons by my house at this point that's open. It's probably, that's open. The one that's literally by my house is 24 hours, but clearly they didn't have what I needed. So I went to another Tim Hortons that was probably about 15-20 minutes away, and I would like to say I forgot about my day that I had in Canada. I didn't, but it just made everything better. Number 10. Okay, so number 10. Clearly, you guys, if you don't know by now, I am silly by nature. I'm a very silly person, comedic. I love comedy, but I am a kind of girl that I love a good romance movie. Like, and I love the era that I love. I love pre-20th century movies as well. Like, I love the Marie Antoinette era where the women in the ball gowns, and I love like movies like Marie Antoinette, The Young Victoria, Ever After. I love movies like The Duchess, and, you know, things like that. I love that historic era time because those gowns and those women dressed, I mean, those dresses were bomb.com. And I love the fashion. I absolutely love the fashion there. So it's kind of like number 11. Oh, can I not bang on the table? Number 11. So I'm in love with a guy who has no idea. I'm just gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna just lay that down. You can pick it up if you want to, but you don't know him.